your choice.
Him alone.
The whole team. He says the whole team.
Yeah. Because he need the birthday na mano.
Oh, dear, all right, listen, let's get back to this conversation. It's really important. One of the big things that came out of Anas Aremiyaw Anas's documentary, Galamsey Economy, was those images, which I'll never forget, of the former Minister of State for Finance, Charles Edubuahin, sitting in front of a coffee table in a hotel room, what looks like a hotel room. The coffee table covered with money, which at the end of the conversation, he gathers into a black polythene bag and walks off shot with. Now, in the conversation that we observe in this documentary, the former minister is heard and seen charging a 20% fee to help an investor come to Ghana. The investor is bringing $500 million to invest in Ghana, and Mr. Edubuahin is charging 20% of that.
That's $100 million.
Indeed. $100 million. People are shocked by this. People find this obscene. But the question is, how widespread is this? Is that the norm? Is 20% actually a standard fee for government officials in a position to help people come and invest in Ghana, create jobs, turn our economy around, this Gadgesberg economy that we keep talking about? Have we been missing out on opportunities to grow our economy just because somebody wants 20%? What is the impact of this on us as a nation? We want to talk about it. We want to be thought leaders on this. And so, of course, we brought a thought leader to our conversation. Let's say good morning to Professor Kofi Abuchi, who is the Dean of UPSA Law School. Prof. Abuchi, it's a pleasure to speak to you. Good morning.
Good morning, Kujo. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I don't know if you've seen the documentary.
No, I haven't seen it.
Well, I mean, the big highlight is this conversation in which 20% is demanded by the minister in order to help an investor come into Ghana. Listening to this and understanding the safeguards that our laws put in place to prevent exactly this kind of thing, what are your first and preliminary impressions of such an occurrence?
Well, the rent economy has always been with us, especially under the Fourth Republic. And the reason that is because the structure of our governance framework, and in this context, the economy, is one that empowers people to take decisions on behalf of the country. The state is a fiction, and it takes human actors to take decisions on behalf of the state. And persons who are invested with authority to take decisions tend, therefore, to wield that level of power and influence that invariably attracts people who want to, so to speak, either invest or participate in the economy. And in this context, that authority and influence is one that can be used for opportunistic ends. So when a person who has authority invested in him applies it for personal gain, or applies for personal benefits, that opportunism mixed with the power and authority the person has predisposes a lot of people to behaving in a manner that leads to rent. So the rent economy, as I indicated, has been very much alive under the Fourth Republic, and there are laws for that purpose. But the question is, laws are normally applied ex post facto. In other words, they come after the fact. That's when you apply the law, either in a punitive way or in a corrective way. But in terms of people behaving in compliance with the law, that takes a willingness to stay within the confines of the law, but also the ethos of public service for people to actually behave in a proper manner.
Now, yesterday I listened to you give a lecture on constitutional trusteeship, where you quite clearly define the trustee role that, at the very least, the president plays, having been, entrusted with all of our natural resources. Talk to us. Does that trustee role extend? How does it extend to his ministers? And how would such a trusteeship be violated by a minister seeking a personal payout, a kickback from someone whose desire is to bring business to enhance our nation?
The ministers exercise derivative power. In other words, the ministers do not have powers of their own. The ministers are mere representatives of the president who are appointed at the behest and at the discretion of the president. And so ministers, so to speak, are just delegates of the president. So all the powers of the president who are invested in the minister are actually derivative authority, and the limitations that attend the exercise of those powers by the president equally apply to ministers. Now, having laid that premise, you come to the application. Ministers, therefore, have all the limitations of the trusteeship that are invested in the president. The Constitution reposes powers in the executive president of state, but the Constitution goes ahead to indicate that these powers are to be exercised in a trustee position, and they are to be exercised for and on behalf of the people of Ghana. Indeed, the very first statement in the Constitution, the preamble, indicates that the powers of government spring from we the people. And these powers of government are supposed to be exercised on our behalf by elected officials, principally the president in this context. And so, yes, ministers, to again come back to that in a very simple way, ministers are clearly under the strictures of a trustee under the Constitution, very much the same as the president.
So, how, in spite of such a well-written constitution, spelling out such responsibilities and roles and duties in such clarity, how, in spite of that, do we have such occurrences? What have we done wrong, that is allowing such things to happen?
Laws by themselves are not self-executing. Laws have to be executed by officials of state and by actors. And so the goodness or badness of laws are only as good or as bad as the extent to which they are enforced, particularly from the context of high state officials. And so it's not really a question of how good or bad the Constitution is, neither is it anything Ghanaians have done, nor is this really peculiar to Ghana. But it's the extent to which we have the mindset of compliance internalized by our ministers and by our public officials. Now, the question is, when ministers and public officials appear before state entities like Parliament for vetting, I think that is where Parliament also comes into the fray. What are the questions that we ask, and what are the things that we look out for approval? What is the mindset of proposed public officers for public service? Because public service implies that you understand that you're going to have enormous powers and that these powers are for a purpose. If there is no such understanding, there's always a danger that one would very quickly appropriate the powers of one's office for private gain. Because it's a temptation. And let's make no mistake. It's a huge temptation to have people literally asking you for favors and promising to give things in return for those favors. It's a huge temptation when you have society also expecting so much of you, and so much of you in the context of being a minister, and people expect you to have money, your family, your extended family, your friends, everyone expects something of you. And so those temptations and the pressures invariably, lead people to act sometimes in ways that are driven by the wrong incentives. So it is not peculiar to us, neither is it a flaw in the Constitution, as much as it is a question of the internalization of the appropriate ethos of public service and the expectation that you have institutions like Parliament doing the appropriate checks. And so it's not something that we have to worry so much about in terms of the reform of the Constitution. There are still aspects of the Constitution that require reform. There's no doubt about that. But it is not, the problem is not related to any inherent problem in the Constitution as much as it is the ethos of public service and an understanding of the trusteeship impressions that are given onto power invested in people who are supposed to exercise it on behalf of others.
Now, this raises the question of, personnel choices that the president has. Charles Idubuahin, I mean, let's not forget that he's a successful investment banker. This is what he used to do for a living. People would come to him, say, I want to invest. He would charge them a percentage, probably 20% or more, to invest their money. And then they would all make money at the back end of it if he does a good job. So this is actually par for the course for people who are trained the way he is trained. Now, does this mean that perhaps when we put people of such training in positions like that, we are quite literally asking for our public offices to be privatized?
I will reiterate the fact that it is the question of the ethos of public service, which again goes back to what you mentioned about the mindset of the office holder. And so clearly it is a profit-driven mindset. That profit-driven mindset is one that may have been brought from the private sector, which is where he was previously employed. But it is not uncommon for people who have worked in the private sector, very successfully worked in the private sector, to make successful transitions to public service. But the question is the mindset. It is the mindset, the understanding of what the position of the office that is occupied is meant to be. It's not a private sector position which must always have the calculus of profit and loss, and that it's a public service office which has to be, so to speak, occupied, and the power is therefore deployed in a manner that fulfills the goals and purposes for the office. It's the mindset. And so if the mindset is not proper, if the mindset is not appropriately conditioned to reflect the public character of it, in which case it is not it's not a profit and loss situation, but it's a case of the intentions and the ends and purposes of the office being, so to speak, met. That mindset is what I spoke about in terms of the internalization of the ethos of public service. And so, unfortunately, yes, that's what we're dealing with.
Now, look, every human being has the instinct of self-preservation. The right to survival is one that you can't even relinquish if you wanted to. Now, with that in mind, everybody will certainly seek their personal gain. But when we put people in public office, we want them to let their personal personal interest take a backseat to public good. Is it that we are not teaching people enough to have that mindset? Is it that we are not inculcating these tenets in the minds of Ghanaians enough to the point where they would assume such offices and automatically be able to put their private interest aside long enough to pursue the public good?
I think your suspicions and worries in this context are correct. I don't think that as a people we have a culture of properly managing the values of public service enough. And I think that the Fourth Republic, let's be clear, this is not peculiar to the Deputy Minister. It is not peculiar to the current government. It has been characteristic of the Fourth Republic. The tendency for office holders generally to see it as more or less a prize money for elections, so to speak. The tendency for political parties to exert pressure on people occupying offices to, as it were, help fund the campaign financing of those political parties and other financing needs of political parties. The tendency generally for society to exert pressure on politicians to not only lead a certain lifestyle, but also to support, financially. All these create a mindset that public office is actually supposed to be a place for making money. And the president actually made a statement at the beginning of his term that the first term, I think, that if you're thinking of making money, you don't belong to this government. I think that was a very strong statement at the beginning. The question of whether that statement has been complied with by the generality of ministers and the generality of other state officials is one that is out there for decision by the jury. So I think it's the whole mindset, the internalization of the ethos of public service. And from an academic standpoint, whether or not our schools and institutions are also doing the teaching well enough, whether our students and people who are reading governance and government in our schools have that understanding that public service should mean exactly what it is. It is service, as opposed to an opportunity for the private gain of the private benefit of whoever the office holder or the holder of office. And you may be aware that there are many countries out there, especially advanced countries, where people have been caught in the same way of exploiting or applying their public offices for private ends and for private benefits, and some of which have resulted in very dire consequences for these people.
Without mincing words, this is a symptom of a bigger existential threat to our economy. We are competing with other nations to attract investors. Yet we may be in a situation where there are individuals who are making it less attractive for people to invest in Ghana simply because they are charging, fees in order to allow such investments to come in. It may be a widespread event, which is really starving us in comparison to other countries where ease of doing business seems to be much better. So what do we do to stop it? Now that we know that it can happen, what are some of the measures we can put in place to stop it? Should we be doing lifestyle audits, or maybe should the asset declaration regime be given some more muscle? Should we be periodically doing spot checks of people? I mean, what are the things we could put in place that would at least make it harder for people to do what we saw depicted in the documentary?
I think it's a combination of all these. And we do have the laws, we do have the institutions and other systems in place to hopefully help check things like this. Now, we may just have to review and reevaluate how the institutions have gone about doing their work. And that's why I mentioned the key thing about Parliament, for example. Look, there's only so much one can do. Sometimes, even with the best systems and the best things in place, you still have outcomes that are not necessarily palatable. And so sometimes these may happen. But we need to reinforce evaluations of public officials and how public officials are appointed eventually to office. When a person is appointed, or rather nominated, it is up to Parliament to do the appropriate evaluations. And as you indicated, the Deputy Minister is an accomplished person. He's a successful investment banker. He's done well for himself in private life. If he faces Parliament and if he answers all the questions right, if I'm a member of Parliament and I'm part of the committee, I'm likely to recommend him strongly. And so we are speaking with the benefit of hindsight. And so in this particular context, the likelihood of us saying, or asking questions about why in the first place he wasn't appointed, that likelihood is there because we have the benefit of hindsight. But if you look at things in retrospect, it is not easy sometimes to foresee some of these things from the standpoint of a nominator, i.e. the president, nominating someone, and from the standpoint of an evaluator, i.e. Parliament, checking whether or not the person nominated is qualified enough for purposes of appointment. So I think where we've gotten to, we just need to ratchet up the evaluation and ask questions particularly about not only people's just qualifications, but the whole ethos and understanding of public service and how people generally how people are conditioned in terms of the management of the powers of their offices, in terms of the management of state resources, and in terms of the understanding of the trusteeship responsibilities that are placed on them as public officers and as public officials. I think these have dire consequences. And the thing you mentioned about people basically standing in the way of investors and often demanding their own rent before allowing others to come to the country to do it.
Yeah.
We've all had allegations about these from time to time. Whether they're true or false from a scientific standpoint, I do not know. But from a social standpoint, these are widespread in terms of the suspicion. The question is, how do we deal with it? Again, from both a constitutionalist standpoint, but also systemic reform standpoint. I think there's work to be done. But the most important thing is the mindset and the ethos. Because the best systems you put in place will not be good enough to rein in people who do not necessarily want to comply. And so when you change people from the mindset perspective that public service is supposed to be about service, I think you achieve a lot more than necessarily putting in the best of laws, which can be negotiated around.
Yeah. Wow. I've got to say, you've really given us, quite a wide perspective to this matter, and I really appreciate it. A lot to think about. Professor Kofi Abuchi, Dean of UPSA Law School, I want to thank you for your time with us this morning. I've got a text message from someone. I'm not going to mention his name because someone that we all know. But he says, Kojo, I've been operating in the FDI promotion space together with GIPC since 2007. And I can confidently tell you, most investments never see the light of day due to such forthright requests by public servants. A major fertilizer plant worth approximately $830 million from an Indian firm never materialized due to the greed of just two people. But I must also confess I've never heard such gargantuan requests as 20% mentioned by Edubuahin. Chai.
Now, the Asante Apim MP, right? And the Apia Kobi asked me a question. Would you take a position if I give him today? He said he would never take a deputy minister position. He said it categorically. And his main reason was that even if you facilitate investors, people deliberately put impediments in their way for their own benefit.
Imagine.
Yes. He said he himself, he had been involved in 2 of them. This is an MP. This was a former deputy minister saying that from his own experience, we, the people who are asking for investments, put impediments in the way of investors. So who do we work for?
Imagine. Just imagine. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll hear your messages and thoughts on the Super Morning Show. Stay with us.
Our money, when our money, our money.
For the quality services we offer, Royal Foam have also been awarded at the 12 Business and Financial Excellence Awards. For good sleep and better relaxation, it should be Royal Foam. For quality, buy Royal Foam. Visit Royal Foam at our showrooms and sales depots across the nation. Call our hotline on 020-227-1000. Royal Foam, rest assured.
Oxford Royal Academy, with 20 years running and over 30,000 students from 170 countries, is UK's #1 academic summer school program for ages 13 to 18 years and 19 years plus. We invite parents, schools, students, and counselors from Ghana to our summer school event on Saturday, November 19th at the British Council, Accra. Time is 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will be giving away £3,000 in tuition to one lucky student. Don't miss a chance to invest in your children's future. To request an invitation, contact 0552 281 952 or email us at summerschools@globalreachstudyabroad.com or visit our website at www.oxford-royal.com. Oxford Royal Academy, a summer to shape your future.
Afiwe, Black Stars fans say attempted DNO.
Yeah, Jai!
Team selection.
Yeah, Jai!
Na coaching a Juman and swear.
Yeah, Jai!
Hey, now Black Stars beat maybe B. Saka Sanonso.
Yeah, Jai!
No negative talk. Positive talking kwa. Momayan Kamum. Qatar 2022 way. Nayanta Black Stars echi. DSTV the 64 matches ni na be bro with DSTV compact so. For 169 Ghana cedis beji with decoder and the year. Ghana. It's our moment.
Now, Jordan, are you correct?
Hey, Masa. Yejai. Malcolm Black Friday is back and now live. Get into your shopping mood this November. Simply walk into any Malcolm shop nationwide for our amazing offers and low prices. Malcolm Black Friday is back and now live. Terms and conditions apply. Malcolm, where Ghana shops.
Clear your calendar. It's that time of the year. Heaven is about to invade the earth for a transformational moment. Heaven on earth is a moment, a God moment. Come and seize that moment. Gideon Danso, Global Lead Pastor at Empowerment Worship Center, invites you to experience heaven on earth in an atmosphere of Jesus at the Prayer Factory. Sound word from pastors Mensa Otabel, Keon Henderson, Paul Doherty, Bradley Knight, and of course, Gideon Danso will shift your mind. The sound from the house, EWC Live, will carry us to the throne room. Wednesday 16th to the Sunday 20th November. All roads lead to Empowerment Worship Center, Prayer Factory, Jolu on the Obasanjo Road, next to the Allied Heights. 6 p.m. each night and 2 speakers each night. EWC Live will crown it with a live recording session that will awaken the worshiper in you. Remember, 16th to 20th November, Heaven on Earth Conference, Empowerment Worship Center, where God lives.
Mr. Bossman, with all these computers, servers, and electronic equipment, I know they see one cable for the floor crack.
Charlie, you be right too. We they use raised access floors from interface, so all the cables they hide under the raised access floors. So
this be the solution to the plenty cables where they my computer room for office. Accountant, call interface now.
If you're involved in new property development, renovation, or decoration, the right place for you is Interface Limited. Call us on 0274 999999 or visit our website at
www.interfacelimited.net. Facebook, Interface Limited GH. Instagram, interface.limited.
You start to gain more when you bank at GCB. GCB, your biggest and largest bank, is giving salary account customers more in the GCB Gain More promo. At GCB, you start to gain more. So switch or open a GCB salary account today and gain more in the GCB Gain More promo. When we say more, we mean more. Get up to 300,000 Ghana cedis as loan at a competitive interest rate. Repay in 60 months at reduced upfront fees. Pay no monthly fees for 6 months. Get an instant reward when you make a deposit in your salary account and benefit from the free life insurance cover for 1 year. Remember, promo lasts until April 2023. Terms and conditions apply. GCB, your bank for life.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
That's right, 9:31 on the Super Morning Show, and we're still celebrating Winston's birthday. You know, it is said that Mary Magdalene called him Zaddy. All right, now, in a moment, we'll read a few of your tweets and your messages. But let me tell you about this upcoming public lecture. As part of programs marking the University of Ghana's 75th anniversary, the University of Ghana Alumni Association, in collaboration with the University of Ghana, cordially invites you to the 2022 Alumni Lecture delivered by Ambassador D.K. Osei, a distinguished retired diplomat. And the topic is Liberal Democracy, the New Utopias and the Age of Disorder. It's on Thursday, 17th of November 2022. That's tomorrow at the Great Hall, University of Ghana, from 5 p.m. Alumni lectures provide the platform for discussion of pertinent issues of national development and an opportunity for homecoming and networking. Lecture promises to be very insightful as one of the nation's finest diplomats and prominent alum of the university takes the stage to deliver a lecture on liberal democracy. You can't afford to miss this, and of course all of you are cordially invited. Now, Verna water is proudly made in Ghana by Twellium Industrial Company Limited and is purified using a series of filtration, reverse osmosis, UV sterilization and ozonation to meet high standards of quality and safety. Werner, which is ISO certified, is also awarded the Water of the Year at the Ghana Beverage Awards 2021, Product of the Year by Ghana Manufacturing Awards 2019, Water Producing Company of the Year by Ghana Manufacturing Awards 2021, and you can purchase a bottle of Werner, which comes in 330 milliliter, 500 milliliter, 750 milliliter, 1.5 liters, and 1.5 liter jar. For bulk purchase, why don't you call 0249 717777? This advert is FDA approved. Now, FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 is here. Once in a lifetime experience awaits you with Adansi Travels, your #1 traveling company, bringing you to your doorstep the very best offer you could ever get to either Doha or Dubai with just $2,700. You can be a part of the World Cup campaign to support the Black Stars to victory. The packages come with return flights, accommodation, breakfast, tours, and much more exciting goodies. They've got packages that allow you to watch the matches while you stay in Doha or in Dubai. The choice is yours. Just contact Adansi Travels now on 059 385 0079, or you could try 055 631 0404, or just go to their office at East Legon, close to American House, and of course all their social media handles are at Adansi Travels. All right then, so I've noticed among the tweets that we're about to read that a lot of people are concerned about problems loading up their electricity meters. So apparently there is a slip back into the times of a few months ago when people couldn't buy power.
Yeah.
The app doesn't seem to be working, and when they go to the offices, there are some difficulties with certain cards, certain meters being loaded. What are people saying?
Now, so at Set Gogo says, I've not been able to buy prepaid from vendors since the beginning of the month. Every time I went, the system is up. But you can buy it from ECG office. I mean, he means the district office actually. So yesterday we went to ECG office to buy. ECG shouldn't complain if consumers indulge in illegal connection. And Aurora P said, yeah, I've been facing challenges for a week now. I have money, but I can't get credit in my area. Mr. Abu 233 says, yes, for the past few days, and it's been very unfortunate and uncomfortable. Last night, my landlady and her grandchildren slept in darkness simply because no network. She has money to buy the credit, but still can't get it. And Akoda Bat says, the app doesn't work. You can't even know your balance. You have to buy at a vending point far away from your house. That's a lot of inconvenience. And Ibra Karim says, ECG is now punishing us. The credit finishes very fast, just as airtime. There is no joy in this country. And ATM says, very frustrating. I bought credit on the 31st October, and to date, no credit, no money. Call to confirm from both MTN and ECG. They have all confirmed the receipt of the money on same day, yet nothing has been done about this. And there's more from this one. McTachi says, this is the situation at a prepaid vendor shop around Nungwa bus stop known as Center Junction. Some have been here since 5 a.m., but the vendor is yet to come and start selling to them. Again, I noticed there is a low electricity current these days, and that's from McTachi. Now, a lot more messages on that. We haven't been able to purchase power for our P1 meter since the weekend. The app and the shop code doesn't work, and the vendors and our district office keep saying the network is down. At Mary Money said, I've been in darkness for the past 5 days. It's very frustrating going to the office every day just to check if the network has been restored, and their customer service line is not responsive. They're just wasting our time and money. And well, so those are some of the messages that maybe I think it's a general complaint, and because it's not every area. It's not every meter. That's what makes it complex.
Yeah.
It's not every single card. So sometimes you only get to know when you are almost run out and you need to go and try and get it.
Yeah.
You may not know ahead of time that you are affected until you get there and they tell that, no, there's a problem with this card. So we try and fix it. We'll get it ready and restore that one. The next week you go, so we'll go to the district office and join whichever queue or which will be present.
Or adding to the chaos.
Yes. And I think there should be a bit more communicating on some of these things,
Yeah.
we have a problem.
Yeah.
But they have our details, right? They have the number. They can come to your house.
It's almost as if there's no
prevents
data
them from reaching out to the direct customers and saying that your sector, your area, your meter might be experiencing a certain network problem. Yes.
Although I don't think the problem is a zonal one. Okay. So recently there was a need for a new meter at my house, and while I was out of town, Pamela had to buy electricity, and was told that there's a problem. The meter cannot be loaded, and it took days for someone to attend to the problem. And during that time, every other house in the area could buy electricity. So the problem is the meter, not the area. You see? So that's creating the confusion. Your meter might be problematic, your neighbor's meter might be fine.
That's true. Even in the same house, if they have different meters, because I know somebody who actually bought, but others are struggling with the same within the same compound, but with different meters, right?
Yeah.
To actually get the same thing functioning for them.
Listen. Let's get an idea of the reality of the problem. Call us now. If you have problems topping up electricity, call us 0302 216 541 or 055 1111 997. We want to know what experiences you are facing in topping up your electricity. Is it working fine for you, or have you had difficulties? Have you been able to use the app, or have you had to go to the head office, the district office? And when you get to the district office, are things done easily for you, or are you told there's a problem with your meter? How long have you had to go without electricity so far? How has it affected you? What are you losing out on because you have money but can't buy electricity to load up your own meter? Let's talk. 0302 216 541 055 1111 997. Nee is in Tema. Hi, Nee. Good morning.
Good morning, Kojo.
What's been your experience?
Kojo, it's been terrible, eh? You have money, you go to even the ECG office, you can't buy prepaid. Okay? And then yesterday, finally, I was able to get one. I got home, I punched it, and it says voucher has been used.
Have I?
Can you imagine? So I'm at the place now. I'm at the ECG committee, 12 ECG office now.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, you people have money. My neighbor, she sells, and then for 1 week, she doesn't have power. 7 days, and my house. Look, everything I have, I keep in the freezer. Everything I have, foodstuff, everything, it's in the freezer. So imagine going without electricity for 5 days, 6 days. And seriously, people are considering illegal connection. And I don't think ECG can do anything about it. I think if it is really an app they are using, they can. When we have such a situation, they should just allow us to do the postpaid thing. And then when the network is good, then they can charge us before we continue using the phone. Because if they don't find a solution, businesses slowly are going out. Homes are having their footstep spot. I'm telling you, when you come to Tema, the ones without electricity, they will tell you. It's terrible. It's very terrible. Yes.
Nee, thank you.
Very, very terrible.
Thank you for that. I mean, you have to think about this in perspective. What, for 1 week, no electricity? Not even at the height of Dumso did anybody have to go for 1 whole week continuously without power. This is serious. Stephen is also in Tema. Hi, Stephen. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, Kojo.
Tell us your experience.
Yeah. So I've been out of prepaid for I think it's over a week now. Because I ran out and then I tried to buy from the phone, and then it didn't go through. So they deducted my money, but I wasn't given the credit. So I went to the office to only to be told that there's a general problem and the network is down, and so I can't get prepaid. And I've been sleeping in the dark for almost a week now. And my problem is that if you know you have a problem, what you should do is to give us credit in advance so that when you are able to restore it, you deduct it from our next purchase.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Stephen, thank you for sharing. Thank you very much. Oh, goodness. I feel bad for Stephen and Nee. Ransford is in Ofankor. Ransford, what's your situation?
Oh, Kojo. I also experienced same thing. And for 2 days, I've been in darkness. Simple because I cannot recharge my meter. What happened is my meter is a type that I cannot buy from any vendor. If it finishes, I have to go to the district office to buy. And when you get to the district office, to the queue there is so long, it will mean that I will not go to work. And the gas that they have given me with a token, the app was not working. You buy from MTN to using mobile money on the app, it just tells you that a network cannot be connected. Now, I called the customer service. They told me the app was under maintenance, something, flimsy. And the app came back, but still, when you buy the credit, it's not loading. The money is just refunded back to your power money wallet. Okay? For 2 days, I've slept in darkness. And guess what? What I have in my fridge and the freezer, it's more expensive than what I will even required to buy the credit. And I mean, it's so frustrating. Yesterday, I had to ask permission from work before I was able to top up. You see, it's so frustrating. I think that the folks at Electricity Company of Ghana have to sit up.
Yeah. Thank you, Ransford. Thank you so much for sharing. Elvis is in Amasaman. Hi, Elvis.
Good morning, Kwame.
So, are you also struggling to load your meter?
No, please. My problem is the first day I went, they say the network was down, but I got it on the second day.
Okay.
Kwame, could you believe that anytime I load my meter, let's take it as I loaded it yesterday, and there is light off today. Immediately the light comes, all my credit will go off, unless I go and buy another one. I thought I was the only person because before a nearby neighbor told me, the same, like, so if I load then the light goes off right now, my credit has to go off. What is the meaning of that? ECG, please.
Wow.
They should do something about it. Yeah. And they should stop the increment. Solve your problem first. Kwame, good morning.
You mean Kojo, and good morning to you too, Elvis. I've actually got a picture here. Someone has sent me a picture taken on Saturday around midday at the Legon branch of ECG. The place is full of people, all of them being told that the ECG system is down. This was Saturday. Were you there? Were you in the area? Tell us about it. 0302-216-541, 055-111-997. Do we have time for one more call? Jerome is on the line from Medina. Hi, Jerome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Talk to me, Jerome.
So this problem is very much frustrating. Yes, it is. Look, we buy credit.
Jerome, if you can move away from your radio and then speak directly into your microphone on the phone so that we can hear you clearly, Jerome.
I hear you.
Yes, it's better now. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
So we buy credit and then we get to our credit has run out already. Previous one got already run out. And what we are buying is exactly the amount. They are going to use it by a certain amount. They use their discretion as it were because it's a pre. So we have,
Jerome, I'm so sorry, but that line is just not good. We're struggling to hear you. Keep your messages and tweets coming through. Ken Ashigbe just sent me a screenshot of the app. It's not working. You can't even see your balance. None of the details are showing. Clearly, there are issues here. So listen, we're back with more after these.
Hi, I'm DJ Drogba. On average, 250,000 people die on the road in Africa each year.